Well, hi again, everybody. Welcome to another episode of 100 Yards of Football, and this is the NFL Draft Prospect Show for 2026. And today we're going to feature Keionte Scott, a cornerback out of the University of Miami. His final year was at Miami, and he played for a national championship with the Hurricanes. Keionte's a guy out of Helix High School in La Mesa, just outside of San Diego, home of Bill Walton, home of Reggie Bush. Alex Smith was there. Dan Hammerschmidt, a teammate of mine. A lot of great players came out of Helix High School, and that's where he is. And he travels all the way across the country to end up at Miami. But he started, gentlemen, after Helix, by the way, he wins the state championship, or at least the CIF division, an open division title in San Diego. He goes to Snow Junior College for 2 years, not heavily recruited at all. Kind of puts his money where his mouth is, though, guys, if you don't mind me saying so. You can make or break yourself at a junior college. You can kind of get distracted or get lost. It's not the biggest thing. Nobody's going to your games. But he ends up being a National Junior College Athletic Association All-American both years that he was at Snow. Defensive Player of the Year, goes to Auburn. He's all SEC second team there. Both seasons that he was there, he leads the Auburn Tigers in punt return average. He goes to Houston, had an injury with the Cougars, and then leaves for Miami. 64 tackles, 13 tackles for loss. Gentlemen, 13 times he was behind the line of scrimmage as a cornerback. He had 5 sacks while he was there, 2 pick sixes, the interception against Ohio State early in the game in the Cotton Bowl. Many people remember that. He wore number 0. So if you're thinking about, I remember who that guy was, yes, we're talking about Keionte Scott. If you don't mind, Vincent, let's talk a little bit about the young man and what he did to impress you in terms of your perspective, looking at it from an NFL scout general manager. We're going to take Joey out of it. We're going to just talk about you and what you would see and the highlights that you have for Keionte Scott.
Yeah, man, is versatile. Got tremendous playmaking ability. He's physical, excellent in run support. He can blitz off the edge as any defensive back in the country based on the fact he said he had 5 sacks. His instincts are at another level. As a cornerback, he's got route recognition. This is a guy that can do it all. And he did it big time at a big time school in his last year. And that's what you got to be most impressed with. Before we turn it over to Mr. Clinkscales, I got to take it all the way back to the 865 up there on the hill in Knoxville, Tennessee, baby. He reminds me of Alante Taylor, who just got paid out of the University of Tennessee by way of the New Orleans Saints. Back to you, Mr. LeBel.
Well, anyone that gets paid, that's a good thing. That means you're a professional. And Joey, if you don't mind, I gave Vincent the opportunity to look at it from a upper management front office perspective. Now I'm asking you to do the same thing. Give me your perspective on what you think that Keionte is able to do. Big hands, above average in the 40 time. His height at 5'11" is that's about average. But what are some of the things that you were impressed with?
Well, first of all, he's well above average in the 40 time. He ran 4.33, 4.35 at his pro day at Miami a couple days ago. So the kid can really run, and you can see that on tape. So you can see the fact that he has speed, he has some explosion. You can see that both as a blitzer and as a basically he plays like a nickel corner, nickel safety. The further away he is from the line of scrimmage, the more trouble he has. Inside of 10 yards of the ball, he plays really well. He's another guy that hips are a little restrictive, but he does have really good instincts. He's got really good hands. He's a guy that is explosive as a tackler. If he sees something, he takes a direct path to it, and he has the speed to both track down guys on the edge and blitz off the edge and get in the quarterback's face. So there's a lot to like about this guy. But again, he's in a unique position. He's not a true corner. He's not a true outside guy. He's more of a nickel corner, maybe even a nickel safety in the way that today's NFL is going with some of the guys that they play, because he's better the closer he is to the line of scrimmage.
If you don't mind, let me follow up with you, Joey, on that. I call him tweeners. He's either bigger or smaller than a linebacker and a safety. So he's a tweener. He's a guy that can play 2 positions, really. If he's in the box, he could be very advantageous against the run. There are some guys that are a little bit smaller and they're better against the pass. The Honey Badger is one of those guys that you think of. He can do some things like that. Is there any tweener that you see in here? And the reason I ask is because for him to get in the backfield as much as he is, I think the Miami coaches, especially the defensive coordinator and maybe the cornerback coach himself, has said This guy can stop a play dead cold, and why don't we just try to see if he does it? I think that the stats speak for themselves and that he kind of wreaks some havoc back there.
Yeah, I mean, he's able to do the things that he does best. And obviously, the best thing he does is rush the passer at times. So, and he's a good tackler. So the things that they ask him to do, because he's a physical guy, he can avoid blockers. You see him at the line of scrimmage. Sometimes when guys come at him, he's got the strength to hold up at the point, get around them, and make a play. So there are a lot of things to like about him. And again, he's a nickel corner, nickel safety, almost like a weak side linebacker at times. So there's a lot of things to really like about this guy because he's tough and he's physical, and he does a lot of good things. And again, first and foremost, he can run. Now I go back to his hips being a little bit restrictive. So you aren't going to put this guy on the corner. He's not going to make a living on the edge because the receivers that can bend and sink and get out of breaks, he's going to have trouble with those guys. But in the role that they have him playing, which is probably best suited for his skill set, he does a really good job. So he has to go to a place where they understand the kind of football player he is, because every player doesn't fit every system. So,
Joe, if you don't mind, real quick, for the guy, the young lady who may be driving in the car, and what do you mean by tight hips? What does that mean? Can you kind of redefine that for us? I know you've explained it before, but the ability to change directions and do so smoothly. Explain what that means from a general manager perspective.
Well, you can have tight hips and run in a straight line. So when he's going forward, you don't see the tight hips. You don't see the restrictiveness. But when he's in space and you have receivers weaving in and out and going here and there, and he's got to plant one way and then go another way. While he has explosion, the hips will slow him down from getting from point A to point C as quickly as possible. Now he can go from point A to point B pretty quick because if he's in one spot and he goes forward or he goes lateral, he has the speed to get there. It's just when the picture changes, when the goalpost moves, that he'll have a little problem.
Thank you for explaining that. I appreciate that. And Vincent, back to you. Second round, we're going to go. What are some of the things that he may need to work on? I love the fact that he can get into the backfield and mess things up on a run play, but are there some issues in your mind's eye regarding the way that he covers and the reason that he'd be there in the first place, either a nickel or an outside as a cornerback?
I mean, when you look at him overall, what I saw on the film, well, not on the film, but what I saw him playing the big time games is that seemed like that. I'm going to say it one more time. His instincts are off the charts. He's always making plays. And you brought up a key stat, 13 tackles for loss. So that means he spent a lot of time in the backfield. And to be honest, I like Mr. Scott playing at a big time school with safeties like Sean Taylor and Ed Reed, Philip Buchanan, Dwayne Starks, Momo Akinley. Let me throw Benny Blades in there. Young man representing himself at a high level. No question about it. And one other play he reminds me of that young man out there in Denver that played real well with the Broncos, Jaquan McMillan. Same type of player to me. This young man, Mr. Scott, as Mr. Clinkscales said, I don't think we have to worry about his speed. I didn't know he ran a 4.33, but there should be no problem. I think he's going to represent wherever he goes in the NFL coming out of the U.
You know, I appreciate you saying that, Vincent. Let me follow up with you before I go to Joey. In terms of representing at the U and all that kind of stuff, I know, and I really do believe that the coaches said, if this guy can do it and we can get away with it, we can make some special calls where we're not bringing a linebacker, but we're going to bring a corner off the edge. And if they can't block them, again, wreaking havoc. But talk a little bit about the pedigree also. We've done this in other podcasts that we've had. What does it mean for this young man to be able to go in an interview room and say, I played for a national championship? I know what it means to be in a big game, or at least so far from a collegiate perspective. No, that's not the Super Bowl. No, it's not the NFL playoffs, but at least I have a handle on that. Is that an advantage in your mind's eye?
Question toward me?
Yes, Vincent, please, absolutely.
I mean, no question about it. I mean, when you look over our history of this game and you look at the young man playing in Miami, of course, I'm going to ask him. I'll say, hey, man, when you step at the University of Miami, something that Michael Irvin said. We different down here. We fight down here. It's about a level of excellence. I remember I was talking to a gentleman, and I talked to you off air. His son was the #1 pick in the 1991 draft. My man by the name of Mr. Russell Maryland. I know his father, Mr. James Berlin, the Bear, Mr. Southern University. I hope you watch it tonight. God bless you. He told me something when his son went to Miami. His son weighed 320 pounds. But when he came back and he redshirted that year, when he got back home and was visiting, and Mr. Maryland out of Chicago by way of Russell, Louisiana, he said Russell had lost over 40 pounds.
Yeah.
And I said, well, Mr. Maryland, what is that about? He said, that's the expectations. The great coaches that's been there, Jimmy Johnson, Schellenberger started it. Then Dennis Erickson started it. Your man, what was Sonny Lubick, the defensive coordinator. So every time I see the U, especially now with Mr. Cristobal bringing them back up to their status, I'm going to be excited because I know one thing, that's history, that's legacy, and they do it a certain way. Just like when Mr. Clinkscales was wide receiver U at University of Tennessee, McGee, Clyde Duncan, Willie Gault. I don't have to say no more, Dale Wilson. It's a certain level of expectations. Mr. Clinkscales can explain that. Back to you, Mr. LeBel.
Well, all right, Joey, the ball's in your court, but I think a pretty strong case there, especially with Russell Marin going into camp at 320 or 315, whatever it was. If you go to the University of Miami, you better run. You better learn how to run, because we will run, and we will run fast, and we will do things a little bit different. Our speed is one of our assets. Joey, what do you have to say? Same question to you. Does the national championship and the playing in big games, does that make a difference in your mind's eye?
To a point, yes. It's not a huge factor, if I'm being honest with you, because when you walk in that room, when a guy walks into a meeting room, he's sitting down with a staff. They know what kind of player. I've already evaluated what kind of player he is, whether he's playing in front of 100,000 or he's playing in front of 10,000, like Cortland Finnegan. We talked about it last time. A football player. Those are the guys you realize, the football player, and playing in front of the lights, that's great. But guess what? The light's going to be bigger once you get to the National Football League. The University of Miami has had great talent forever. They've had great talent.
Yeah.
But it's talent everywhere. And it's up to the scouts and the personnel people to find that talent. So if they bring you in, I talk to kids a lot. And the things I tell them is, everybody walking through this door has talent. Talent gets you in the door. It's the other things that keep you there. Your football character, your work ethic, your coachability, your toughness, your ability to handle adversity. Those are the things that keep you in the door. So it doesn't matter if you play in front of the big lights or you play in front of two people. Once you get your opportunity, everybody has talent. Talent gets you in the door. Okay, now what's going to separate everybody else from those other guys? So that's what's important.
Appreciate you saying that. Thank you. Vincent, before we go, there's a couple of thoughts that, he's got such high expectations because of the University of Miami, but he's a tough kid, and he can play press corner, slot. You can move him around. He is versatile, as you said. Final thoughts here from you, if you don't mind.
Well, I like the kid's story with a young man out of San Diego, California. I know they walk a certain way out there in Cali, out there in Southern California, where you from, Harper, and then come all the way to South and play at Auburn University, and then he go to the U. There's something special about this young man. And then Mr. Clinkscales brought up at his pro day, he ran a 4.33. You know what that tells me? It's just like the old Jays. Money, money, money. He made him some money. Back to you, Mr. LeBel.
4.33 sure talks, but Joey, you've said on numerous occasions that, you know what, if I don't see a 4.33 on film, if I see a 4.5 guy, that's impressive. It's a 4.33, but he's just getting ready for that one portion of the SAT, that the verbal part. There's some other things that may not be contributing to his college experience. Give me your final thoughts before we head out, Joey.
I like this player. The key to this player is figuring out where he fits in your system, because he's not going to be your edge guy. He doesn't show that kind of ability, but in a scheme, he may be a nickel safety. He may be a dime safety. He may be a guy that, in some systems, they will line him up on second and third down, maybe as a weak side backer, just so they can get him on the field, get his speed, rush the passer, drop in short zones, because, again, the further back he is, the more limited he becomes. The closer he is to the line of scrimmage, the better this player is.
Very interesting. I appreciate it. Gentlemen, we've been looking at Keionte Scott. So for Vincent Turner, for Joey Clinkscales, I'm Harper LeBel saying thank you for tuning in, everybody. This has been 100 Yards of Football, and this is the 2026 NFL Draft Prospect Show featuring Keionte Scott, the cornerback out of the University of Miami. We appreciate you liking the show, and if you do like or subscribe, tell a friend. We'd appreciate it very much. Thank you so much for watching. Have a fantastic day, everybody, and we hope to see you